You're on mute.
And that just
False start.
I was doing so well. And what really sucks about it is I hit the button and it stayed on mute.
Mm.
You guys get to hear me redo it live. Welcome to the Screen Time Continuum. What's going on, guys? It is Sunday. My name is Keelan and I am here with Nick. What's going on, brother? How you feeling?
Hey man, happy Sunday. I am feeling better now that I know that I don't have to go through another Sunday of this. So,
Well, not for a few months at least. It's
right.
it's HBO, so we won't have to wait a full year.
Maybe not. Maybe not.
We'll get this in the fall season. I've noticed they like to go season to season, and well, no, actually, no. There were a few things they gave us a 2 year gap on. Actually, anyway, we're not going to get that deep into the weeds yet. We are here on this Sunday to review the finale of The Last of Us. For those of you who have been here with us from the very beginning of the Last of Us series until now, thank you. For those who have not yet watched the finale of The Last of Us season 1, we apologize if you do not turn away now. Why do we apologize? There will be spoilers. I've given you ample time to not hear anything else that I'm going to say about The Last of Us episode 9 of season 1, which is the finale. I'm not like super excited for the episode to do that. I just like saying finale. Um yeah, with that being said, hey Nick,
Yes, sir.
what do you think about, let's start with just this episode. We'll save our season interpretations till as we're going through, I guess, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you
But
think of episode 9?
that's a great question. I'm glad you asked. Let me tell you about it. I think there were some high points in this episode that were pretty good. I think we all know what was probably one of the better scenes of this episode, but I found myself a little bit jarred by the shift in uh, relational dynamic between Joel and Ellie. I found that to be kind of off-putting a little bit. For the last 8 episodes, she's been sort of rambunctious and spunky, and then this episode, it's sort of like the roles are reversed. I can understand maybe she's going through something, but it just feels like they're just forecasting the rift that's coming up. But overall, this episode was, it was okay. I felt myself a little bit bored. I felt myself a little bit rolling my eyes at the over drama, but there were bright spots in it, and I thought there were some nice things too. So, not an awful season finale, not an awful cliffhanger, but yeah, we'll talk about as a wider
Right,
season later on.
right. I like that. Thank you for sharing that. I'm not going to share my. No, I'm joking.
Oh.
Season 1, episode 9. Man. So I liked it, but, and a few more buts. Um, I agree that it's not the worst cliffhanger. It's actually a pretty good cliffhanger. I was, it left me in shock, but that's the end. Um, this episode gave us a few different levels of things, and the relationship between Ellie and Joel. It's weird to say I didn't appreciate it until it was over, and I don't mean through the season. I just mean in this episode. I didn't appreciate that change in dynamic until the end of the episode. So I actually understand exactly what you're saying because I felt the same way. And then as we kind of round it out, it's like, okay, I guess I understand why that went that way. Um, Within that, I like the buildup of this episode, where it started to where it ended. Some of the things that happened in between, finding out certain players were still around or had come back around. That was all very apparent in this episode. Very like bring you in, make sure you stay engaged, as well as the video game aspect leaped out at you in a moment that made you annoyed as hell. But at the exact same time, it was such a like, okay, you could be obnoxious for this moment. Um, that it paid off. But we can again dive into that as we go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Is it a season finale sort of feel to it? I'm not sure. I don't know if it's like I mean, they cross a giant swath of land in one episode. They almost did like Game of Thrones level teleportation in this episode.
Yes,
Um,
I thought of the same
where
thing actually.
yeah, where it's like, oh, we're back in Wyoming, the place we should have never left anyways.
But they had a
Um,
car, so
oh, they had a car.
and Utah to Wyoming. Because remember, well, we're jumping, but
Uh,
to get from Utah where they are in this episode to Wyoming, yes, it seemed like a bit of a flash forward, and I thought the same thing for a moment. And then I was like, they're driving, so it's different. They're not walking.
mhm.
Hey, what's going on, Corey? Corey is with us here. Corey says, I'd be cool if they ended it with this episode. You know, honestly, yes, but Corey, you have played the games, so you know they won't.
No, certainly not. Didn't Marlene die?
Man, I want to go back and watch episode 1 so bad. I just didn't have the time before we had to do
And
this.
why did Marlene not know who Ellie was
What do
at
you
the
mean?
I mean, like she was holding her captive,
Oh,
right?
wait. Okay, great. I'm glad you asked that question. I have a whole hypothesis about Marlene, and it makes her ice cold and a badass at the same time.
Okay, but I mean, I just don't know why she wouldn't
She knew.
know that
She did.
she
She
knew
did.
that was Ellie. She was just pretending for the camera.
No, it's not for the camera, it's for Ellie's safety.
Oh, okay.
So, theory.
Uh,
She knows who Ellie is. She's the one who took Ellie and put Ellie in Fedra school. She turned Riley to try to get Ellie back. In that situation, they both end up getting bit. That's why she's going through this whole spiel about how she feels and the fact that she survived and she didn't know who she was because she didn't want to tell Ellie. It's not about telling everybody else. She didn't want to tell Ellie who she was. So from
uh,
there,
well,
it,
I
I,
mean, I
I get it.
guess.
It's sticky.
Yeah.
It's sticky. This is not the cleanest of scenarios, but just putting it all together. So then, when everything gets bad and she knows she has a target on her back because she's out there, and you have old school come in, and that's just what we're gonna call Joel in the scenario of the Marlene situation. Um, that's how that happens, and she trusts him more than she trusts herself, and boom, she's the watchful
But
eye.
wasn't she dead?
Yes, I thought so.
What happened? I need to.
I thought
Yeah.
that Joel took Ellie and they was going out in a firefight. I thought that's what was going down.
Yeah. Yeah.
When they
Okay.
were leaving, there was a
Right.
firefight coming her way from Fedra.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Or
Well.
whomever, because we never find out who's actually wiping out all the Firefly posts. So
Mhm.
maybe it's not Fedra, but whomever that may be. Because for all we know,
But
there's a rebellion against Fedra.
she magically survived and followed them across the country.
Right.
Um, all right. Fair enough.
No. She
Um,
magically survived and they cargoed her across the country.
right.
She barely survived.
She barely survived.
Her words, not mine.
Yeah. I don't know.
So
This
let's start at the recap really quick.
yeah.
Even though we've already started talking about the episode. But the recap, I just want to state this. The recap is not fair.
Why?
It's not fair. The recap makes you look at Bella Ramsey as the star of this show. Like, I mean, she is. But what I mean is, like, she carries all of the emotional weight of this show. Joel
Mhm.
carries, or Pedro Pascal. Sorry, I said Bella Ramsey, didn't I?
Mhm.
Paints Ellie as if she carries the emotional weight of this show, which isn't the case. Joel carries the emotional weight of this show, and you only know that if you watch it because that recap doesn't know justice. I had to say that because it was just one of those things where I'm like, wow, that's ice cold. So Joel just was a cold-hearted dude through this whole thing. But then you see episode 9 and you understand why they did that. It was more of a ramp up. And that's why I say this episode started with the build-up and it ended right where it wanted it to. The
Uh,
scene with sorry.
I don't know. I don't know though. Like, what's going on? Or the scene with what? What were you gonna say?
Oh yeah, no, I was just gonna jump to the scene with the mom,
Oh
Ellie's
yeah,
birth.
another birthing scene. What's going
Right.
on? Why did we need so many birthing scenes?
Because
HBO
it's the
loves their
apocalypse.
birthing scenes.
Yeah. And it's
Yeah.
always gonna be in the apocalypse or in some
Yes.
not so clean world. They'll
Mhm.
never I don't remember any births in Westworld.
No, because they happen in a vat, probably.
But if they were real, they would have happened in a clean environment.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, so we find out that Ellie's mom is getting attacked by a zombie as she's giving birth at the same time,
right. She
which
was fast as
is
hell for somebody in labor.
yeah. I mean, I guess
I
that's
mean, but you know what?
yeah.
What do I know?
I don't know. I don't know anything either. If you're getting attacked by a zombie, I can imagine that you might, like
The adrenaline levels, yeah.
yeah,
Survival,
just happen pretty
yeah,
quickly
yeah.
with the strain, I would say.
With the strain, I like that.
Mhm.
So yeah, her mother is running from the strongest zombie we've seen, or excuse me, the strongest cordyceps infected that we've seen in this entire show. Just we haven't seen it. Even that golem thing didn't burst through anything. That thing bursted through the door.
Yeah, true.
Uh, Corey says, "How is this person alive, heavily pregnant with just a knife? Because she's a badass." Corey, did you not catch that?
Mhm.
She's
Yes.
Marlene's best friend, so you know she has to be battered than Marlene because she was pregnant and made it this far. And Marlene's been scared shitless every time we see her on screen. She just happens to survive until now.
Somehow, somehow.
Yeah, somehow till she got killed by.
I guarantee you, season 2, Marlene's gonna come back and be like, "Well,
Man,
we
listen,
didn't see her die,
we didn't see it.
technically."
He popped her in the shoulder.
Yeah, or he
Ah,
just shot beside her and then walked away.
nah, I need Joel to be the cold hearted dude that they want him to be at the end of this episode. I need him to be that through the entire season 2, or I don't want to watch it.
Well, you know what's gonna happen in season 2. We already know it's
Joel's
gonna
dead.
be well, eventually, I probably, but
Yeah,
it's
we
gonna
don't even. I've never played the game. I'm assuming
be so the whole thing is gonna be revolved around what he did at the hospital
for
and
sure.
Ellie finding out about it.
For sure. And what is she 14 now? So yeah, she'll be like it'll be like 5 years later. She'll be like 19.
I don't know,
So then she'll
maybe.
she'll be able to run off and fuck you, dad.
I don't even think they're gonna give you that much time.
Fair. That's fair. Yeah. Um so
But,
oh yeah, to comment on
Marlene.
something we wondered about with Joel and his penicillin recovery video game, like Joel is 100% healthy. You called that. I was
Oh,
thinking
yeah,
they give him like an
he's fine
80%,
again,
60%, but he's perfectly fine.
and he doesn't have panic attacks anymore,
Not
so
even
he's
panicking.
good.
Yeah, he
What was going
definitely
on with
should
the
have had
heart
at least one
attack
panic
then?
attack. Well, now he understands his affection and his feelings, so there's no in
Okay.
between. She
Right,
is
right,
his
right,
daughter, and that's how he
right.
sees it.
Yeah. Corey
So
says
yeah,
that we saw the brain splatter of Marlene. Did we though? Maybe it was just, maybe it was just a psych
Marlene
out.
brain splatter. Oh well, no,
Marlene
there was a
already
splat.
psyched us out once. I think it's reasonable to assume she can psych us
We
out
don't
again.
remember how she died the first time though,
Yeah. We just assume that she died in the firefight. Yeah.
and that's why they were able to bring her back. Is because if she was the leader of the Fireflies, there's no way she's dying in a firefight.
And now Corey's just
Or
assuming that we saw her brain splatter. Maybe it was somebody
oh, maybe
else's.
it was he. Maybe he shot a
I'm just
zombie
being
that was
stupid
next
now.
to her.
Yeah.
I was trying to help.
Yeah.
But so yeah, we don't have to go through the umbilical cord and all of that. Fast forward, Marlene is oh yeah, Marlene and her mother were lifelong friends. So my question is, why didn't Marlene just keep her and raise her? Like
And
that's irresponsible. Which makes Marlene the bad guy from the beginning.
how are they close enough to find her, but far
She's
enough
been
away
keeping
for her to get
the
for her to
watchful
get
eye,
attacked?
the watchful eye.
I mean, oh yeah, we don't really need to know much, I guess, because
Because we're
it's just a
stupid.
setup to just explain how damaged Ellie is, right?
Basically, yeah. It's how special and how damaged she is.
Hmm.
And it kind of proves back to what she said before. Everybody that she's ever known and loved has been hurt or left her, and it kind of got proven in this episode. And then the person that she trusts the most, and what that happens with that, it's kind of messed up. Um, so yeah, let's just jump on past that. They get to Salt Lake City and they feed giraffes because first off, Ellie just throws the ladder. That was the part that kind of had me like, what? But the running
Yeah.
in the circles part, it was annoying as hell. But it was like, wait, it's a video game, and it made me think. There were a few scenes in this episode that the one where the mom was attacked, um, The one when he's going through the Firefly station. All of those scenes, I'm pretty sure, like they feel like they're exactly how the video game would have been.
Yeah, I mean, let's not ask why there are giraffes in Salt Lake City.
Because nobody's trying to eat them. I
Why are
guess
there giraffes?
mushrooms don't like giraffes.
Giraffes are from Africa. What are you talking about?
They escaped the zoo
We
or
can only
wildlife preserve.
assume that
It's
we
Utah
saw
for
no
sure.
wildlife preserve or zoo.
True.
They were in the middle of the city. I don't
Yeah, I don't
know.
remember seeing anything
Uh,
either. It looked like a baseball field, in fact.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, it's Utah, so I'm assuming they have like safari out there or something.
I think it's just to show giraffes in a city.
That's it. It was just
That's it.
to give that soft moment.
And it was, and she, like, Ellie's acting super strange in this episode. I don't really get what they're trying to
That
communicate
she's
with
been
her.
damaged and
Yeah.
traumatized because of her experience with I can't remember his name, but from last episode.
Right. I kind of thought that too, but I don't
And
know.
that's the only thing that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because she comes out of that situation in shock and Joel brings her out of it, but she never really speaks to him from that moment all the way, probably
Right.
in short sentences, but a full discussion probably until about 15 minutes into the episode.
Right. Yeah.
I think that's just getting across how serious that was for her at her age. Because again, she's 14. We're looking at a child go through these apocalyptic events and worse, um, and there's no context being given sometimes to her age. We're just supposed to remember that this is a 14-year-old. So it's like put yourself in the mind of a junior high or a freshman in high school. How would you be going through this? How would you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's totally fine. I just think that wasn't really clear enough from
I
an
agree.
audience perspective what was going on in her head. We can
Yeah,
make the assumption that it's that she's feeling really traumatized from the last episode, which I'm okay with, but it also feels like there's something deeper going on. It feels like she's hesitant about spending more time with Joel after this is done, that she might be reconsidering things. I don't know.
I
So,
think she was starting to lose trust in Joel. Um,
for
Awkwardly enough,
what?
simply because of you know when he was injured, he wasn't there. I think it's a subconscious thing, something that the subconscious does out of a protection situation. It's like, okay, well, if you're not the shield I need or the shield I once had, then are you as useful as you used to be?
I suppose. Yeah. I just thought that
Speculation only.
I just thought that the role reversal between the two of them was kind of strange because it's Joel that's like harping on her the entire
All of a
episode.
sudden, yeah.
Um, but that's fine. I
A
mean,
comment I had on that was, and I noticed it. I felt like Ellie was getting annoyed with the way, like he was talking so damn much. It's like you were quiet
mhm,
for 8 episodes, bro. Now you want to shut up.
yeah.
But
Well,
that
and
to
she
me,
was
that
a
was,
loudmouth for 8 episodes. Now she
and now
doesn't
she
want to
won't
say
speak.
anything. So
Exactly.
yeah,
And I'm like, and I think that was the role reversal simply came from him turning into a father and her being a traumatized child.
yeah,
That was literally the easiest way for me to decipher it. And I understand that you're saying that makes sense. I'm just like, if I had tried to think about it in any other way, I was sitting there like, I don't. I would be like, because nothing else
yeah.
makes sense
I think that that's probably fair enough.
to me. Sorry.
Yeah.
Look,
Uh,
Corey might be typing up something right now, and I read it and be like,
oh.
oh wait, I guess that does make sense.
No, I think that that's probably fair. It just again, there's a lot of pregnant consternation pauses and like, um, and you can tell that she's supposed to be thinking about something, but we don't really get a glimpse as to what she is thinking. So,
Yeah, I think we'll get it in season 2 in a discussion between either her and another young lady in the commune, or her and Maria.
mhm,
Specifically, I'm thinking specifically Maria because of Maria's feelings towards Joel already.
mhm.
Which it's weird to say. I'm actually looking forward to their interactions in the future since we're back.
We're
Hey,
back in
Corey.
paradise.
Right, we're back in commune dice.
Hmm.
Um, Corey says, I think it was more pretty straight up PTSD, and Joel brought her back out of it. when he told her about his own attempted self-delete story, but then that got shorted out before it was complete. That's a good point. Um, but yeah, when
Hmm.
a Firefly's flashback went off, yeah, and I didn't think he had wrote that, but yes, um, that's actually a really good point. Is maybe it was just that moment where she needed to know that somebody else has been to the level of not knowing what's next and thinking it could just end now.
Hmm.
Um, that's a reality. See, I just said it. I just said it that I didn't think about it. That was the other thing was the only thing that made sense. And then you say that, and it's like, see, okay, the avenue I didn't think about.
Yeah,
Mental health.
I think it's pretty clear that they're trying to sort of forecast the split between Ellie and Joel, right?
Right. I don't know if
And
they should do it on the crutch of mental health though.
I mean, they're going to do it under under the the lie that he lied about killing the fireflies.
Yeah, but we could twist that into being some level of his mental health issues.
I don't know. I mean,
Joel
maybe.
fucked up in the head, bro.
Yeah, I guess he is. I
This
mean, they were
episode
going to
proved
murder
it.
her,
They were.
and she didn't consent to it. It'd been different if she had given herself willingly, but
Oh, I agree. Okay, yeah, let's get through the rest of this because I definitely want to talk about that. That's
yeah.
like that to me. That's the Midas gold of this episode. Like, who think
It's
what?
still like, yeah, it's still a trolley problem that honestly is a moral trap
Mhm,
either way. But
mhm.
yeah,
You lose to lose.
yes, and
It's just who
but
you lose for.
she clearly didn't know what was going on.
No, not at
Yeah.
all. So yeah, they have a discussion while they're looking at the giraffes about finding a safe home after they complete the mission. I'm in that moment thinking to myself, Joel's an ass because he knows the mission is gonna have to kill her. That's been discussed from day one.
I don't think that that's true. I
I
think
don't
that he
either.
was under the impression that they would be able to, like, I don't know, extract DNA or blood and then,
Oh, some level of
spin it into
vision.
stem cells or something like that that can be,
Got
generating a cure.
it. Yeah, I
Um,
thought there was a discussion in the past about it, but I could be wrong. Um,
yeah, I wouldn't know why he would continue if he had known that it was gonna kill her. So
because he wasn't connected. She was his cargo at first. He really meant that for like 4 episodes.
yeah, but then the next 4 episodes he really cares about her.
You're
So why
right.
would you be
You're
like,
absolutely right. He created his own conflict of interest. There's no denying that.
yeah.
Corey says it's pretty sus to me. They're gonna be able to isolate chemical receptors just like that. Yeah, with one doctor. Yeah, that we see in this broken down hospital. Yeah, that's what we're doing. It's not all clear. No, no, it's not at all clear. This isn't. Okay, I should not have read that last part so slow
No.
because you definitely just fucked me up too, and I'm reading it complete bullshit. But yes, you're
Right.
absolutely right. It didn't make sense from a science stance. That part, I don't think they would argue that. I don't think they tried to justify any of this scientifically, except for episode 3, I believe it was, with the Asian doctor. It was the only time they kind of tried to make this make some level of science sense.
Hmm.
But outside of that, yeah, I don't think they give a shit if we happen to know that, it's going to take an entire laboratory of people in maybe 20 to 30 years to actually do what they're talking about. They don't give a fuck. But yeah, you're absolutely right. It is complete bullshit from that level. And that's where Joel is 1,000% on the point with that, but we'll get to the decision portion. I think the only thing to discuss before we get to the decision, in fact, is Marlene is alive. She has agreed that Ellie should be killed to do this because that's what she's agreed. That's the only way to get this done in her mind. That's all she knows. Um, should Marlene have maybe tried to treat Joel better before we get to everything else?
I don't know. I mean, she's
I'm
kind of an undercooked character in my opinion. I don't
fair.
know what her motives are. I don't know what her like issue is. So I don't know the reasoning behind her except for she's trying to maximize the most good
Mm.
apparently.
Yeah. I think her motive is to save the world at all costs. I think if she had to kill herself to save the world, she'd do it.
Maybe,
Period.
but that's like if we had any direct understanding or like complete concrete understanding that this was going to be a cure. I think
Right.
that's what Corey was alluding to too. Is like,
Yeah, we don't know if this is a cure. That part of it's
yeah, how can you be so sure that it is?
and I like
Um,
that Joel threw that at her. Like if
mhm.
like we're talking about it. If we're gonna kill a kid that we both agree we care about, that we both agree we would lose our lives for. On
Yeah,
an if,
right.
Corey says, like uneducated people leaning into some sliver, excuse me, of hope that that with a megalomaniacal doctor feeling pressure to be useful and frantically carrying out some murderous Hail Mary bullshit. I'm gonna read that again in my head so I can respond properly.
Yeah, it is though. Yeah, it's just sort of like, we want to be, we want to have the cure, we want to have the answer, and then the doctor wants to be the person that has the,
Yeah, he just wants to be the
yeah,
savior.
yeah.
Yeah, all scientists and doctors have that God complex, but that doesn't get discussed in these shows.
I think it gets assumed most of the time, but
Perhaps, but we
yeah.
don't even know this doctor's name. Doctor Bullet in the head.
Oh, yeah, Dr. Bullet in the head is right. Yeah.
Because we never
Uh,
got anything about the doctor. I will
mm-mm.
say, with Corey saying that, that just made me think of something that I usually enjoy with these kind of shows. I usually enjoy finding out how terrible the doctor is or it wasn't, but how important his level of genius or his or her level of genius is.
Also, Maureen's stupid because if she's willing to kill Ellie, she knows that she'll probably have to kill Joel too.
Which is that's why I said, was she wrong for treating Joel the way she treated him? If you're gonna treat him that way, kill him now. Because you
Hmm.
know who you're dealing with.
Yeah.
It didn't make sense to me to send him off with two armed guards that didn't look like they could beat up Ellie.
Hmm.
In fact, they had to hit her with a flashbang. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you guys came five
Um,
and six deep. You guys had to creep up on them and hit them with a flashbang. And it was Marlene the whole time, which means you guys knew who they were. Oh, Patrol didn't know who you were. I beg to differ. Why would they creep up on us?
yeah, and they were just being blatantly. They're so fast and loose with their own rules when it
Oh yeah.
comes to
Oh yeah.
traveling through cities. It's like
Mm.
sometimes they have to be super quiet, and then other times they're just walking around normal, like there's
The
nothing
the
wrong.
rules only exist when they're not bonding.
Mm.
When they're bonding, what rules? You got to talk loud enough for a boom mic to catch it.
Right. Right. True. True. Um,
But yeah,
yeah.
so yeah, idiot Marlene. And I'm sorry, I have to blame her for how this all turns out because she could have played the cards better. She's the only one who had a hand to play. Period. She's the one who was in charge. She's the only one who had a hand to play. The fact that you sedate Ellie, you basically give her a lullaby song, right? Because she wakes up trying to figure out like, what the hell? I went to sleep and everything was supposed to be fine. And what drugs? So you drug Ellie, you send her off to her death on a whim. Then you go and you tell Joel, and then you let Joel out of your sight.
Yeah. Maybe you should have put him under a slow moving laser while you talked about your evil plan.
Thank you, Dr. Evil. You get what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
then where she also did wrong, while she knew he was coming back. Because where was she? In the basement by the cars, hiding behind the pillar, behind the door, in the dark, with her weapon already loaded. And even then, she didn't pull the trigger. But you let
Yeah.
everybody else in the building get killed by one person. Come on, man.
Yeah, it's kind of bizarre to be honest. It feels like almost like they just really like the actress and we're like, we want to bring her back for
I
one
think
more
so.
episode. You know,
And
like,
she
she
was a
was just
great actress.
really, really nice and everybody liked her a whole lot. They're like, let's just
Hey,
bring her
listen.
back one more episode. I know that she died in episode one,
If
but
crew like you, you
don't
could
worry
probably
about
get another episode run. That's pretty cool.
it.
Um, oh yes, and the final fuck you was to tell them to give him Ellie's knife right in front of him. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Corey. That wasn't gonna go well. I
Mm-mm.
actually expected him to take the knife in that moment and just get on some Neo, John Wick, Rambo, um, you name it, he did it. Action flick type stuff. Jason
Well,
Statham and Crank. I don't know,
I tell
but
you what, Joel does not miss. That's for
ever.
sure. Mm-mm. He was yeah, he was playing like a video game character.
Told you. I'm telling you
That's
that
why he was
scene.
so
That scene,
deadly. It's because
bro,
we were
that
playing
scene
as him.
was definitely like, oh, I would have died like 5 times.
Right, right.
Hitting them corners with the light flashing, and all he had was tape on his bump stock. Yep, definitely would have died a couple times.
Yeah.
Trying to hit them. Bah, 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 bah. Reset.
Mhm.
But yeah, of course, this is a video game, so he had to sweep it. He had to get through in one set. Why? Because he just recovered. And even though they were very realistic in making some level of an injury last through a level, I thought that was actually pretty cool from the video game aspect of things. In hindsight, in the moment, it was trash, but in hindsight, I get it. In this moment, there was no way he was going to get hit. He basically was going God mode.
Yeah.
Um, God mode so much that, again, he didn't want to know the doctor. He didn't want to give the doctor a chance. He wanted to ensure that there was no way that they could do what they thought they were going to do to Ellie.
Right. Yeah, because if it gets out that Ellie has, some sort of cure, then the Fireflies will hunt her all
But
over
then
the
he lets
world,
the
all
nurses
over the
live.
country. Yeah, I don't think those nurses are going to talk a whole lot, but maybe they will.
That's fair.
Maybe.
That's fair. Um,
Yeah, he was certainly very good at shooting the entire wing of that hospital.
Man,
Yeah, did that quite well, I
I think
guess.
Pedro Pascal plays video games.
Maybe. There you go. Um,
I didn't mention at the top of this episode, Ashley Johnson is the lady who played Anna. She is also the video game voice for Ellie,
okay.
the
Yeah,
one who
that's
played the
cool.
mom. Yeah.
Hmm.
So that also to me explained why she kind of looked like her and Bella Ramsey favor one another. And it's like, oh, because she's the character that they found originally that looked like the character that they drew. So then they just found a younger version of her, and that happened to be Bella Ramsey.
Right, right. Yeah, it did kind of look like her too.
Hmm.
Um, they look kind of similar.
Corey said looked like he had a M2 carbon. That clip he took off the first two guards he killed was wrong. Yeah, I didn't think that fit that weapon either. I didn't know the models and all of that, but I didn't think that fit that weapon. Um, that's the only complaint about his Savior Rampage. It was dope in my opinion. I liked it. Yeah, as far as the weapon thing, I actually did not know if he had utilized that cartridge for that weapon. I felt like he had just picked it up and stashed it in case he found. It was weird. It
Like
was
a
weird.
video game. You
Yeah,
pick up
yeah.
all the ammo you get.
You just pick up all the
Yeah.
ammo and you hope you end up
Yeah.
using it in something. But I understand what you saw, Corey, and that makes more sense than just he has some invisible cachet. Like
Honestly,
he has in all video games.
I would have liked that scene had they actually done it. Like, would have been really cool. I know that it would probably been awful to shoot, but if that was a one shot and you just did the entire thing, like from him
Oh,
getting the gun to getting to the surgery room was just one shot, that would been
that's the magic
incredible.
porn right there. If they had did
Yeah,
that right.
you could have done like a 10-minute scene where he's just going through the entire wing of the
Oh,
hospital. That would have put this episode over the top for me for sure.
just the thought of that was great.
Yeah, but they made it a montage, which I kind of was like, "Oh, damn it, don't do that. Like, don't do
Why he had to
that."
go and do that, love,
I
huh?
wanted to see him kick ass. But it
Yeah,
was
they
still
didn't
pretty
really give
sweet.
us any real action in that, but it was fun.
Mhm, mhm. It was fun. But yeah, a one shot where he's taking everybody out would have been really cool.
It would have been great. So let's see. Now he's taking everybody out. He gets to Marlene. I appreciate that Marlene called him out. I appreciated that.
Yeah.
She didn't have to because she was afraid for her life, but she called him out, and it's like, okay, well, what you gonna do next?
Mhm. Yes, Corey, full John Wick's fight scene. It would have been a nightmare to shoot. Yes, it would have
Yeah,
been.
probably would
But
have
it would
cost
have
more on the
been
budget, but it would have been worth it for us.
if they had done that. I would have said that would have been the best scene of the series. So,
Fair,
mhm.
fair. Um, but yeah, so we go forward. Ellie wakes up after Joel gets away, and he lies to her. I don't think he had to lie to her. I don't think he needed to tell her, oh, They are not looking for a cure anymore. They found out there's dozens of kids out there like you who could possibly be cures. Like that in itself doesn't make sense. And Ellie's not stupid. If there's
Yeah.
dozens of me and there we could all be possibly cures, why would
What
they
was
give
all
up?
this for?
Right.
And Marlene is the same woman. She saw Marlene.
Right.
It's the same woman from Boston. So,
Right.
like, she's the one that put you on this whole mission.
Right. So where's Marlene? Did she survive?
And
And
why
then you
would they
don't
put you
know
on the
why.
mission if you already have a dozen people that already have the cure?
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Stupid.
she put it all
Dumb
together
lie.
really quick and was like, all right. So then it gets to a point and she just asks him straight up before they make their final journey. Are you telling me the truth? Because she can see and she can feel that this dude is lying. I personally think she was coherent, uh, but she was not awake. If that makes sense. I can't remember what that's called, but
She might have some sort of flashes of what
yeah,
happened with
what was
Marlene.
going on.
Yeah.
Um, so he just blatantly lies to her and tells her that everything he said was true. And you see this internal fight she has. Like she wants to call him a liar and she wants to tell him F him, but I'm thinking in that note, she's thinking, what's my next move if I do that?
Yeah. Who do I got next?
Got nobody. You know.
Mhm.
So let me get on into this town and go ahead and make some friends. And that's what season 2 is going to be about. Is her, like you said, making her get away from Joel.
Yeah. Most likely. That's what I think. And maybe her, like trying to find the fireflies again to give herself up.
Perhaps, yeah.
Maybe sacrifice herself or something. Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, at least she lives to get a choice.
Yeah. Again, like if she ultimately decided to do that, I don't think that it's morally right, but that would be a different thing than putting her under the guise of like, oh, we're just gonna, gonna do a little
Run some
procedure real
tests.
quick
Yeah.
and then murder you.
But they didn't even tell her that. They just drugged her. She didn't even know that they sedated her.
Right. True.
They probably put it in like her water or something.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's a shit situation because the show is all about the worst case scenario in every possible situation, which is kind of a bummer to watch, which dovetails into maybe what we want to say about the season as a whole.
All right. I think
at least for me.
Right. The weirdest thing about this entire series or season for me so far,
Mhm.
I don't think I've ever watched anything where the options are survival or solution.
Expand on that one.
We can just live in this apocalypse and survive, or we can try to solve the problem because we understand it.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I don't think anybody really understands the problem, though.
Nobody really understands the problem. But they have a theory that there is a cure out there, and it's like Joel seems more on the survival than solution side.
Mm-hmm.
Marlene was definitely more on the solution side, and Ellie is stuck in the middle trying to figure out what side of the fence does she want to land on. And I think that's a big part of what this episode revealed. Not sure how that's going to play out in season 2. Not sure. But I think that's really where we ended, was survival versus solution. And that's what this whole season has been. And they've chosen survival 9 episodes out of 9. So for them not to, if they had a chosen solution, even though maybe some people out there are going to be like, oh, they should have let her do it and they could have tried to save humanity. And like that would have been contrary to the entire series. They chose survival every single time. That's how they're able to keep moving.
Yeah. Well, and Joel's selfish and he wants to have a daughter, and Ellie, wants to be with somebody. She wants to be around somebody. She doesn't want to be an orphan, and have to try to like live in an apocalypse by herself.
Right. I wish we knew how long this season was, because it would explain how long it took for her to realize Joel's possessiveness. Because it really took to this episode for her to realize how selfish he was.
Yeah, and that's why I feel like it's a little bit jarring to me, because like the passage of time in this season is very difficult to discern.
Right.
Again, they did Game of Thrones style traveling in this episode where they were teleported across the state in one episode. Prior to that, took a few episodes to get like a quarter way across the country.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's it's difficult to say like what's happening in between the episodes. That's why I feel like it was a little bit shocking, the dynamics that they had in this episode compared to the last one. You're supposed to sort of fill in the gaps yourself and assume a whole bunch of things that they may or may not give you. But I feel like there's um, a little bit of like we're skipping through the highlights, almost, again,
Kind
Game of Thrones style.
of. Yeah.
Um, yeah.
That's I like how you laid that out. Because you're right. This could have been a little more in depth, even. If I'm honest, this was a short finale.
Hmm.
I expected about an hour longer than what it is, especially for it to be 9 episodes and not 10. They didn't give us really too much in episode 8 towards the ending of a season. And then for you to basically Thelma and Louise us.
Or Sopranos just cut to black.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what happened next? Well, not Thelma and Louise, you actually do know what happens next, but you get me.
They're going back to Wyoming. Everything's going to be great. And we don't have to worry about anything anymore.
Nothing is going to be great. We don't even know again, we don't know how long they've been gone from Wyoming. So what for all we know, what's going on there now? And it looks like that settlement got way larger. Like twice
Yes,
the
it looks
size.
pretty big. Yeah, it looks pretty big, but they
You
haven't
see what
been
I'm saying?
gone that long.
Still a question. Corey says Marlene just deciding that Ellie's sacrifice is worth a shot at letting some dude try to isolate his chemical receptor theory thing, with her judgment being the final word, was flat wrong in my opinion. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
it's out of pocket. My thing is, they both should have been able to sit Ellie down, give her the options that they saw as adults because she is a child in this situation, and then allow her to survey them because she is what you consider either the end of the road for Joel, which would be, his family, and for Marlene, the savior of the universe, if that's a thing.
Mm.
Uh, the show seemed to be trying to keep that in a moral dilemma territory by really leaning into deranging Joel's relationship with Ellie into his possessive territory, or this possessive territory. But it's a no for me, Team Joel.
Yeah.
Fair, very
Yeah.
fair,
You
and I
can see the
understand.
wedge. They're trying to force the wedge, and I think they're forcing it a little bit too quickly because I just started feeling
Starting to
like
like it.
Joel and Ellie were, like complementary to each other.
Mm,
Now you're already pushing the wedge, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, I might get an episode where they're not awful to each other, and then the next season is going to be strife.
right.
All right.
I mean, I guess that the hint there is this is what it's like to raise a teenager in the apocalypse,
Yes,
and he's
exactly.
volunteering for it.
Yes, him and Tommy. It's gonna be like 2.5 men, but
Oh God,
in
yeah,
the
because Maria's
apocalypse.
out. She's dipping, right?
Right, right.
She got a homestead to run. That's no longer a commune. That's a homestead, as large as that thing is.
I mean, it's the entire town of Jackson Hole. It looks like it. They fenced off the entire town.
Fair. Oh, look,
So,
look, they done moved back down to where the existing homes are. That ain't
yeah. Again, they're watching movies. There's running water. There's
true.
toilets.
The
Like
dam. Look, they're getting power from the dam. I'm trying to figure out who was smart enough to figure that one out.
I mean, you would hope that maybe there were some engineers that lived in the area that
True.
worked at the dam. Maybe that's what
Maybe,
it is.
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
See, this is how we get things done.
Yes, you got to bend. You got to bend the.
Talking about bending. So, how are we going to bend our final opinions on the season 1 of The Last of Us? And what lines are you going to bend into numbers? How are we going to go with that?
That's a good
Nick,
question.
you
All right,
wanna,
if you want me to go first, I can.
yeah, by all means.
All right. So the positives are this is a very well shot show. I think that the cinematography is quite good. I think the use of visual effects works pretty well. There's not a whole lot of like jarring juxtaposition there. I think that the acting is pretty solid. The story is pretty decent. It's compelling. I would be remiss to point out that there was only one zombie in the last episode, which might be one of my bigger critiques for this whole thing, is that it's just not really a zombie show. It's not really about this. It's about the people. And that's all well and good, but I think my biggest problem with this show is I have no desire to watch it again. And like that's a big minus for me. I feel like I saw it, that's great. I get to appreciate what I saw, but I would never want to put myself through the I don't know, the sort of like dramatic exploitation that I think that this show does a little bit too much for me. Um, so where I can see it has some really great elements to it that I did enjoy, and that I probably will watch season two. I just don't know if I'd rewatch season one. So for that, I'm gonna have to say I give it like a 6. I don't think it's bad in any respect, but I personally just don't like it. So it's just not going to be as ranked as high as something that I truly enjoy. I can see it for its merits, but I just don't. I don't know. It's not for me.
Not your cup of tea.
Not my cup of tea.
Fair enough. Next
Mhm.
time, do chamomile.
Yeah,
Uh,
sleepy time.
Nobody dislikes chamomile. I don't know why. Even
Right.
like it doesn't taste great, but it affects, I guess. I think that's a fair critique, honestly. Um, Let me explain. I agree the acting was great. Well, no, you didn't say great. I think the acting was great. I think every actor, whether it was a cameo, which most of the actors in this were small cameos, only I think two characters got a double episode, which are Marlene and Tommy, I believe. Oh no, and Catherine. So three shots, locations, things of that nature, like all of the background. A lot of that was nice. Like when they got to Salt Lake City, even like just think about episode 9 alone. I was like, man. Then at the end, you get to Wyoming and you see the mountains in the background. They did their best, in my opinion, to give you landscape, and that was done well. Story, not as easy to keep up with until you have to remind yourself that this is a video game. If you're able to stay in the zone of you're watching a video game cutscenes in live action, as I've said through this entire review, then it wasn't done terribly, and that's from someone who knows nothing about the game. The infected sucks. It just wasn't enough infected. It wasn't.
Mhm.
There's only one episode where you got an infected horde. One horde in 9 episodes, and this is supposed to be about cordyceps infected. No, that's not enough for me. For me personally, only one major infected zombie, which was that big tank gargantuan thing. What they call it, a bloater,
Mhm.
and it didn't even have bloater like qualities. No, I'm not gonna keep going in about the infected, but that was a big negative for me, like a huge negative for me. Uh, and relationships between the characters, which is still part of the story, but it's a little outside of the story. I think most of those were done well, even the ones that we didn't care for the execution of them. The character dynamics were all pretty relevant to each scene and each episode. I was about to say level. That's how I know I was still thinking video games. Um, with that, I agree. I don't think I could watch season one again. I could watch the recaps. I'll even go watch somebody else's review on season one before I probably watch the entire season again. I might watch a few episodes. I could see me watching episode 9 again. I could see me watching the very first episode again. Everything in between, I'm not really sure, but I don't think you really need to at that point. It's weird, but that's just how this is set up. And with that, I actually have a lower score than Nick.
Mm. Nice.
I'm gonna give this a 5.5. I had the 5.5 down before we started this episode. I just had to give you guys my reasoning. So yeah,
Mhm.
when you gave a 6, I was actually in shock. I was like, oh shit, he has a higher rating than I do. Um, but yeah, I don't dislike this. I don't hate it. I actually want to know what's gonna happen in season 2. And I don't think it's gonna be one of those. I don't think season 2 is gonna be one of those where we're like, let's just wait to the end and do beginning and end. No, I think we'll do episode by episode again for season 2. And I'm looking forward to it. I just maybe I'll have to sit with season 1 for a few weeks and we can probably even recap it and I'll be like, you know what, I changed my mind. I want to see it again. I might have missed something. But right now,
Right.
I'm gonna keep my Rodney Dangerfield in my back pocket because I'm not in, I'm no interest.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel definitely similar to that. I think that again, for what it is, it did well. But I don't know. Rewatchability is not really there for me.
Mhm,
So we got some comments here for you.
mhm. Corey says, not for 20 years without materials for repairs.
We're talking about
And
Jackson Hole.
right, right. For repairs, maintenance, overhauls on the turbines. Excuse me. No matter if they are engineers or if they are not engineers, where's the copper and steel being smelted for these things?
Right.
Or
The upkeep of a dam would be very
right.
difficult.
That's a very good point. They can
Yeah.
barely keep a car on the road in this world. That's absolutely
Right.
true.
Yeah.
And most of their cars run off of baking soda and water.
Yeah. Just like the old days.
Yeah. Agreed. The background threat from the infected kept seemingly disappearing into an inappropriate tone with dramatic and vignette feel with a dramatic and vignette feel with the cutscenes. Sorry. Sometimes my reading and my mouth don't work the same. More zombie action was needed, in my opinion. In our opinion, Corey, we agree.
Definitely.
I'll give it a 6 out of 10. Not bad, not as good as The Walking Dead. Yeah. I believe we said that at the very beginning, right? Like we all, even you, Corey, we were all kind of like, yeah, we see what you're trying to do here. We've seen The
Yeah.
Walking Dead, guys. So yeah,
Right.
no, definitely not as good as The Walking Dead. I think anything that's even zombie-esque and zombie-like, and that could be why we didn't get a lot of infected, is if there's
Maybe.
one thing The Walking Dead did, it gave us maybe too many infected in hindsight. Like and just because nothing else can keep up with that pace.
Hmm.
The pace in which we were getting shit every time you blink, you get like, oh my god, I can't believe, oh, another infected go out, like, and it was hordes. It was always a horde,
Hmm.
and I think that's why we get upset when we don't see hordes. We are bothered when we only get entry level zombies, so to speak, because we've gotten that tenfold and we've seen the progression so much so that I'm pretty sure that even if we were to watch the Resident Evil series, we'd be disappointed with the level of infected and it's Resident Evil.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah. Well, um,
So
yeah, I think that's it, man.
yes,
That brings
indeed.
us to probably around a
5-8.
5.6, five
5.
seven. Yeah. Somewhere around that.
That's decent though. That's not. It's not
Yeah.
bad. It's not bad.
It's
We can
really not
definitely do
bad.
worse, or they could do worse. I should
Yeah.
say.
It's not bad, but again, like it's just not for me. And I can't rate something above a 7 if I don't like enthusiastically like it. Um, I can appreciate what's going on here, and I can
Mhm.
appreciate all of the good stuff that I did say. But yeah, again, I don't know if I want to rewatch this.
Hey man, if there's one thing that we try to keep consistent is we have a level of integrity when it comes to this transparency. Honest to God, truth. We've seen it already. Don't need to do it twice.
Mhm.
With that being said, we appreciate you guys for hanging out with us for The Last of Us episode 2, the finale. Did I say episode 2? Episode 9, the finale. And
Mm.
we are clearly looking forward to season 2. So when you guys start seeing the advertisements pop up for that, make sure that you know you'll be coming right back over here to the screen time to see what we think of The Last of Us season 2 when that comes up. But right now, you can always go back, check out our episodes for The Last of Us Season 1. Every episode is up and available for you on YouTube and Facebook. By all means, check out all of the shows we have available for you. We'll be starting on Tuesdays with If Numbers Could Talk. On Wednesdays, you'll be headed right back here to the Screen Time Continuum. Thursdays, head on over to Twitch. You'll be able to check out Dijon over on Strawberries and Coffee. And then you'll also head on over to Mike's page where you'll check out the King _of_ Ilion. And he'll also be playing some games for you. Those guys always have some cool stuff. Anytime I have nothing to watch, I'm not on research time or doing something else, pretty much going to catch one of them online if they're doing it. And I really never thought I would enjoy watching other people play video games, but here we are. I have to say that because either it's the way they play and the way they broadcast it that just makes me interested, or I never knew what I was missing. And there is some level of enjoyment to that. With that being said, go ahead and check them out over on Twitch. Also check out Strawberries and Coffee over on YouTube for Dijon's Archives. On Fridays, check out the Exofathom. The Exofathom is available for you at 8:30 p.m. on Fridays. On Saturdays, you can check out. Oh wait, I'm sorry. Before I get to Saturdays, hey Nick, do you know what you guys are covering for the upcoming?
Yes,
Friday?
I will be hosting the episode about the forbidden fruit. It was going to be last week, but now we moved it to this week, so we'll be talking about the forbidden fruit.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Immortality, all that kind of stuff. A second bite at the apple.
The second bite of the apple. That sounds interesting.
Stay tuned.
Look, as I said last time, right? The forbidden fruit's always going to be something I'm interested in. So keep talking about it. I'm going to listen. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. Oh, wait, sorry. On Saturdays, you're going to head on over to This Merry Moment. And you can check us out on This Merry Moment between the times of 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. And on Sundays, you're right back here with us on the Screen Time Continuum. Don't hesitate to like, share, comment, subscribe, like, share, comment, subscribe. And then after you tell your friends, tell them to like, share, comment, and subscribe. We appreciate you guys. We are doing our best to get you the kind of content that you enjoy, that you like to listen to. Feel free, comment, drop us some information about what you guys want to see. We definitely put them on list and we'll get to them soon.
Before we go, do you know what we're reviewing on Wednesday?
I do not, unfortunately.
Damn it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Tragic. I apologize to you guys for that because I have a list and I never made a definitive conclusion, and that's trash of me. So, I apologize.
It's okay. We'll make sure next time we announce it. We'll
Trying to
announce
get
Sunday for on Wednesday.
Yes, we're trying to be more consistent so that you guys know what's going on. You can watch and review something that you have already seen and not just have to listen to us talk about things that you have not seen. But thank you guys for hanging out. Corey, thank you for hanging out with us as always. Welcome to the Screen Time Continuum. Thanks for hanging out at the Screen Time Continuum, and come on back to the Screen Time Continuum because my name is Keelan and
I'm Nick.
We appreciate you guys. And how you like my energy? Is it good? Yeah. Drop a comment about it.
Sparkling.
Appreciate it, guys.